Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, welcome to the program, April 21 in the year of our discontent, 2020. It being a Tuesday, I'm hoping my sister's on the other end of the line. Hi, Suze.
Hi, here I am.
Okay, good. So, where to start?
How many people have you heard from that you didn't expect to hear from in the last week?
Just about two in the last week, but yeah, I mean,
it continues to happen. I mean, I had an email this morning from one of our old family friends that I talk to maybe once every 3 decades.
Huh.
Well,
people checking in,
checking in on me and our mother, and making sure we're okay. And there's just something, it's just me being our mother's daughter, and I'm the one that got the optimistic, cheerful thing, and I just keep seeing all of these little silver blessings to all of this, that people are reaching out to each other, that I'm having conversations with people that I haven't had in years.
Yeah,
that people are sitting down and taking stock that maybe this country has been blown up bad enough that when we rebuild it, we can do a more equitable job. Because we will have shown everybody that we can do it that way.
Well, okay, Suze.
That's my prayer for the morning.
All right, that's fine. And in fact, someone did call me who I hadn't talked to in some time, and we had such a wonderful conversation. And when I got off the phone, I was just sky high. I mean, I just felt so happy. It's amazing how, connection with people is so precious, and it's because we're in a situation now where we value it. When there's a fear that people will be taken away from you,
and when we have time to remember what's important, as opposed to all the crap that we clutter our lives with.
Well, 'tis true. That is definitely a positive of this. But enough with this positive crap.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the other stuff I'm seeing, and the astonishing recklessness and stupidity of these governors opening up their states.
It's just awful because can we try them for murder? I'm not kidding. It's one thing if these schmoes get sick and die themselves, but they're going to take their doctors and their nurses with them. That's not right.
No, they're going to take more than that. They're going to spread it. And the thing is these are coming in states that haven't even peaked. What are these people thinking? What the hell are they thinking? It's beyond me. I just saw a sign that one of them in Ohio was carrying, and it said, "Wake up, you morons." I think morons was spelled MORANS. Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
I know. And and it's perfectly natural to, start praying for being able to feel a little schadenfreude as they all start to drop.
Well, here's the other thing. They're going to get sick. Some of them are going to die. They're bringing their children.
I know.
And we have I don't want to talk.
No, and they do think that they're all that, even if they get it, big deal. And, for many of them, that's true. But if you just look at the numbers, certainly older people comprise the single largest cohort, those over 60. But it's smaller than those under 60. So more people under 60 have died than people over 60. So clearly, your age is no guarantee.
No. Young people are dying. There's no guarantees here at all. I'm looking at a headline today that says, coronavirus testing needs to triple before the U.S. can reopen. That is what all of the experts are saying. Needs to triple. And yet we have these states in the South. Most of them are South and in the upper tiers. You have Iowa, for God's sakes, where that governor refuses to even shut down these plants they're just hot spots, and they're still having people come in and work. The local news, we've got a plant here, and that has been closed. And the interesting thing is that the original packers in the meatpacking plant were mostly white people. And they quit almost immediately and were replaced by people of color. And they're all sick now. It's a hot spot. And when they called them back in and gave them theoretically PPE, somebody was complaining that it amounted to a piece of saran wrap hanging off a headband. Jesus Christ!
You're
talking about Packerland Packing.
Well, no, this one is the same. I think it's the same three initials as the plants in Minnesota, and it's. And I'm just not thinking of who they are, but it's not Packerland. It might have been Packerland at one time, but it is now some big corporate company that starts with three initials.
Oh, God. Well,
and this I hear from the hospital because we have an inside source of the hospital, and I had this woman calling me very upset and saying, boy, can you see the equity, the lines of, of equity in who is coming into our hospital.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Unbelievable. Oh, it's all those essential workers who we don't pay anything. Those are the people who are most vulnerable and are going to.
And did you see on our leader's latest executive order that he's threatening a stop on all immigration? And they're already backpedaling that so fast because guess who they need? They need migrant workers from guess where?
Yeah.
They're already accepting migrant workers.
Okay, and they're going to need, doctors, nurses from.
Well, if he can't keep them out, then who does he want to keep out?
He's just playing to his base.
I understand, but when you read the fine print.
Yeah. Well, this is the most. Listen, we don't even have to go there. The most extraordinarily breathtaking, incompetent, inept, incapable administration this was going to be all of that if the coronavirus had never even appeared, the worst presidency in American history. And now, gee whiz, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. This guy is already today tweeting about his ratings. He's tweeting about his ratings and how he doesn't care about his ratings.
Which must mean that they're plummeting.
Yeah, whatever. It's just, he is insane. Okay, so let's get to a few other things that caught my...
I want to ask a question totally off subject. Did you see the Stones the other night?
Yeah.
What did you think of their performance?
Not very good, but...
Didn't they look like these four old
men? Well, they are. They're four old men. And I thought I didn't watch much of that. I just happened to tune in and caught the tail end of them. But I don't know. I thought that.
I watched a few things. It was
and I went.
It was mostly a telethon.
Yeah, I think I'll watch something else. So, so it turns out that the financial help that was supposed to help small businesses, I find this so unsurprising. Yeah, unsurprising though.
Well,
all our neighborhood restaurants, all these poor souls, the heart of every city's restaurant scene, all of that. These people can't get 2 cents, but Ruth Chris Steakhouse got.
Well, there's something like 75 listed companies.
Listen, you know what Ruth Chris got?
How many million?
20.
Yeah. Well,
20 million.
They should all give it back. All that money should be clawed back. We know where it went. Now, Danny Meyer, the minute that he found out,
Shake Shack
gave it back.
And he only had a mere 10 million. He gave it back, as he should have. But this crapola legislation coming out of this totally dysfunctional Congress is filled with all kinds of loopholes and gifts to, strangely, things like, hotels that the Trumps, can jump on. And the fact that Ruth Chris Steakhouse gets $20 million. Imagine how many real small businesses could be helped and jobs saved with that $20 million. These loans were intended for businesses with fewer than 500 employees, which is already pretty big.
What was the first thing that the president did after that was passed? He dismissed the oversight.
That is correct. So
and
God
he said,
knows
I
what's going
am in
on.
charge of the oversight.
God knows. Yes.
He told you exactly what was going to happen. And then this happened. So I suggest that we all know whose fault it is because he claimed it from the very beginning.
Well,
that this was his responsibility and this was how he was going to do it. So he did exactly what he intended.
Also, besides Shake Shack and Ruth Chris and these others, are you aware that Harvard University got almost $9 million?
And with how big is their endowment? I know
their
Washington
endowment,
University with the billions of endowment is furloughing 1,300.
$40 billion endowment. And it gets $9 million? Are you effing kidding me? Wait, I'm not done.
No, let me explain, though. Let me explain something that you might not be factoring in.
I know. Go ahead.
A lot of this is because they are medical centers.
Yes.
And the medical centers are operating they are losing money hand over fist, and I don't think that people are aware of that. That's what's happening in Green Bay at the hospital.
I know.
And it's happening. So there is
hospitals are one thing. That's not what it says here. It says Harvard. I don't think it would have said Harvard Medical Center.
No. But I'm telling you, when Washington University sent out its thing that they were furloughing 1,300 employees and everybody started screaming, they were very clear that it was mostly going to be happening on the medical center campus because they can't. All of their teaching beds are empty. All the stuff it's all empty. It's not happening, and it's not generating any revenue, and it's extraordinarily expensive.
I understand. But the CARES Act, which we all heard about, where little people were expecting help, let me just tell you where the money's going. $30 billion to Yale. No, wait.
No.
Yale has a $30 billion endowment. But it also got a whole bunch. Princeton, Stanford, they all are getting this money. Now, this is just the corruption and the inability to help the little people and the rich just grabbing up everything is just going to be,
well,
you know what,
for one thing, they have staffs that are totally equipped to do it. I mean, they had their paperwork filed the second that the signatures were there. They knew the inside information, they knew what it was going to read, and they were all ready to go.
Always
the
have the inside
has
track.
to wait to find out what it says.
I know. So locally here, the big hospital attached to the University of Pittsburgh, UPMC, they have, I think, 20 or 40 hospitals, some all around the world. They announced today that they are going to start doing their elective surgeries, despite the fact that the governor has said he does not want that to be the case. So these guys are all big enough to literally thumb their noses, because they are. They're losing money. That's where they make their money, elective surgeries. And they even sent out a memo telling doctors how to get around it by using, the big words like, life-threatening and cancer and this and that. And another medical...
well, what doctors in their right minds are going to want to go in? I mean, I'm just saying...
They need the money. The poor doctors are not making money. Unlike everybody else. So... the other thing is that you're seeing articles where people are starting to wonder, where are all the people who normally would be going to the ER? Where are the people with heart attacks, with strokes, with appendicitis? Where are they? Because they're not seeing them. And what's happening, they truly fear, is that people's fear of going to a hospital is going to result in a secondary death toll of people dying because they're not accessing care.
Right.
Because if you ask any hospital, they'll say we're not seeing it. We're just not seeing people, or they're coming in way too late.
Yeah, the last place they want to go is an emergency room.
Exactly.
And that's why, and to the extent that they can, hospitals are, basically bifurcating themselves and having one entrance, where people who are seeking other kinds of help, and they aren't allowed any visitors either. You have to go in. But women a lot of women are having babies at home these days.
Right.
I'll tell you that much.
The New York Times is reporting that there are easily 28,000 missing deaths. I mean, we don't have a clue of the real death rate or the infection rate.
Well, did you see that China revised Wuhan?
And even
up by 50%.
Yeah, but I don't trust their fucking numbers.
And they probably go 100% above that. But what I'm saying is that who's keeping track? This is a pandemic. The record keeping is the last thing on a lot of people's minds.
One of the hot spots in the country is in a prison in Ohio, and the prisoners have been, there's thousands of prisoners in that facility, and they've been testing, and what they found that is amazing is the positive tests are off the charts. I mean, off the charts. I can't remember the numbers. It's well over 1,000. Okay, testing positive. the vast majority of the positive tests are from people who are experiencing no symptoms.
Right.
Now, what that tells you is the undercount of who has this and the asymptomatic aspect of this virus is truly unknown, and it makes it even more terrifying.
Right. You don't know who has it.
We don't know anything.
Because the person who's sure they don't have it may have it.
Well, just saying. Yeah.
Just saying, I'm locked out. I'll see you in 2042, Neen.
Yeah,
Lynn.
I know. I'll never see you again. It's just unbelievable.
Mother keeps looking at me and she's going, is this going to be the rest of my life? And I said, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
It could be the rest of my life,
None of us know. Okay, I've got some emails to get in here. Russ says, these protests are, these stupid are just rallies to keep Trump's base united and focused. I was appalled to see the coverage on one of the local stations KD had on the protests. They're taking advantage of the one-sided media coverage because no one will congregate like that and endanger others to counter protest. The TV is these ragtag protests of idiots should really, and I was worried about the contextualness of the media reporting, and as I suspected, it's woeful. Every poll shows that even most Republicans do not think we should be relaxing things yet. These protesters are a fringe of a fringe of a fringe. And it should not be played up as if there's this huge grassroots movement going on. Just mind-boggling to me. Sorry, Milton, I can't, for some reason, see what you're sending me. Anyway, I have a peeve because, every day I'm out walking my dog, and I go sometimes to parks or sometimes stay on the sidewalks, and everybody else is out walking their dogs or walking themselves, and it's really getting crowded out there. What I really hate, and I'm sorry if you guys are runners, I really don't like the runners.
Can I tell you, they brush past you. They touch you.
Well, I haven't been touched, but here's what I'm worrying about. They're huffing and puffing and leaving a wake of their germs as they blow by me. What am I supposed to do?
Nothing. Well, you should wear a mask out while you're walking.
Well,
that's what you should
here, the science section of the New York Times today has this. A compelling new study looking at how air flows around bodies in motion. Now, when you're told to stay 6 feet away from somebody, that is based on two people not moving.
Stationary.
Yeah. When a person is in movement, walking or in running, the faster they're going, the more you need to separate from them.
Think of yourself as creating a wake.
Exactly right. And what they're finding is that runners and brisk walkers do create a wake of air behind them that could carry respiratory droplets for 15 feet or more. In fact, some show as much as 30 feet. So if a runner blows by you, they are spewing that shit into the air. They're the ones who need to be wearing masks, but of course they are not, because it would impede their, their breath. They're calling this aerodynamic equivalent social distancing. And the implications of these findings is that keeping social distance, runners and walkers need to swing well wide if they're passing any other person, and then not cut back in front of those people who would then be. And I have to tell you, when I intuitively knew this when I'm walking with the dog, and these guys are blowing by me.
I sometimes crawl up on people's lawns.
Yeah, I do too, and I turn my back and I try not to breathe for a while.
I use the dog as an excuse.
Well, okay, and I curse them. I think, you fuckers, you're killing me, so that you can keep your body and, get on a friggin' treadmill or run around your backyard. But you're killing me.
So
here is a professor.
Did you know that I yelled at a little old man in the grocery store exactly the same way? Oh, dear.
Oh.
Well, let me tell you the story. I was doing my weekly, or actually trying to do every 10 days thing, and it always makes me extraordinarily anxious, so I admit that I am probably short-tempered, but I had completed my task in a relatively easy way. Hi, Blue. And and I went to the self-service checkout where I located myself in such a way to be, very on the end, and no one was around me. And then this old guy, picture, too short T-shirt, belly button, and pants, and demanding that the woman that's in charge of all of those things check him out. And she being young and he being old, I think she was just cowed, so she does. But she takes him right over to the thing next to me. And then this guy stands right next to me. And, of course, he's not masked or anything. So I place my cart in between us. I move, but then, the scanner's between me and the bags are on the other side, and I just exploded in exasperation. I said, "Sir, would you please move to the other side? You are in my space." And he looks at me like I'm nuts. So then I go off and I said, "Well, I know you think you aren't sick. Maybe I'm sick. Where's your mask? Get over there." And he finally went over there. But I was furious. I was shaking. Well, he was standing right next to me. How dumb can people be?
Are you kidding? You're still asking that question? We live in the United States of America.
But I mean, so you're telling me that you're yelling at people. I'm yelling at people.
No, I'm not yelling at them. I don't do that. I just, under my breath, I'm saying, "You fuck."
Okay, so you lied.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I thought, because I feel exactly the way you do. I thought this guy,
in his own self-satisfied comfort, doesn't care whether he's killing me. Well, here's the thing. I care.
Yeah. Well, we are at the mercy now of the idiots. I mean, there is no doubt. Oh, wow. Milton, I just opened that. Milton's showing me one of the lovely signs that was at one of the rallies in Ohio.
What?
No, it's not funny.
I know it's not funny.
It's a picture of a rat, a blue rat with a long, long nose and a Star of David on it.
Oh, of course, it's an anti-Semitic trope, right?
Right, and it's above the Jewish rat, it says, "the real plague."
Oh.
So These are no.
This is
no
Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Let make no mistake. These folks that are doing these protests are the worst of the worst. These are the people who congregate on the rightist wing, fascist, neo-Nazi end of things. And that kind of anti-Semitic stuff is popping up all over the world again, because anytime there's a plague, Jews get blamed. It's just been what people do for millennia. So there's been reports of these exact kinds of things, but it's global, that it's Jews who are spreading the virus, that Jews are getting rich off of the virus, and here we go again. This is always what happens. So, yeah, these are the worst of the worst, these sons of bitches. And that is Trump's base. Those are his guys. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Doesn't anyone want to talk to us today?
No.
Okay, well.
No, apparently not. Everybody gave up and started drinking at 8.
Oh, God.
Speaking of drinking, what a revolting development this was. I finally thought, I'm just going to order myself some wine of, wines I enjoy drinking, as opposed to what I can find in the 30 seconds I allow myself out at the grocery store. At least I can buy it at the grocery store. I know I shouldn't complain. But so I ordered a case of wine, and it was showing up really quickly, and it came yesterday, and I open it up, and there it is, and I pull out the first bottle. It's a half bottle. I have like basically airplane bottles of.
No, it's not an airplane bottle. You're saying it's one of those small. It's half a bottle.
It's a real half bottle, but
So why did you miss something in the order when you
obviously. Well, but given the price, clearly the price didn't alert me, so I'm sitting here feeling like I, really got taken.
Well, but that's. A lot of us are really getting taken now because,
I know.
Supply and demand being what it is, and people needing some alcohol being what it is.
Well, I'll be more careful next time.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I was just going to say, in regard to nobody's calling, the people. Oh, now of course we have a caller. The minute we complain about it, thank you. All right, caller. Thank you.
Good morning, Susan and Lynn.
Hi.
Good morning.
This is Roger. You were talking about like medical procedures not happening earlier in the show. I caught the tail end of that.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, I have friends here who, I have a daughter and her wife live in Brooklyn, and friends here, they have a son who lives up in Manhattan, and he got really sick this past summer, and he's been in and out of the hospital a lot. He needs a kidney transplant.
Oh, yeah.
And he's young, and he's a young, fit guy, too. It's not because of the coronavirus, but it's just something he got.
Yeah.
But he can't get a kidney transplant. And it's like, are they saying they're only dealing with immediate life and death situations?
No, it's weird because, there's actually in today's New York Times, there is a piece on this exactly. And I saw there was a doctor who does transplants, and she was looking sort of woebegone. And I'm looking for it, but I can't find it for you. But you might want to check the New York Times today about it. There's all kinds of reasons why these normal things are becoming extremely difficult to do. For one thing, even kidney transplant, do you have the donor? Do you know that the donor is
Virus-free. Can you transport it? Do you have blood? There are blood shortages.
I don't know. It's amazing. Yeah, there's, I don't know what to say. Isn't that awful? And
I know, and one wonders, how do we know that it wasn't COVID? Because kidney failure is turning out to be one of the hallmarks of the end stage COVID. And the theory is that it's been around a lot longer, and people didn't know what it was. People going in and getting diagnosis. Well, it's not a flu. It's not this. It's a virus of some sort. And I think it's been here a lot longer than we knew.
Probably. And also a neighbor of, and that could be true, but a neighbor of mine who were good friends, and they're very nice. They're Fox News watchers. Mm-hmm. And I think they were poo-pooing this. In fact, just a week ago, I was outside with her husband, and my wife and I are out there, and we're keeping our social distance. We have our masks on already. And, of course, our friend, he doesn't have a mask on, and he's home furloughed, and he kept getting closer and closer to us. Yeah. We kept backing away. We're trying not to be rude. Well, then I talked to his wife yesterday, and now they know somebody who's dying of COVID virus, of corona. And I think you can't say anything because that would just be awfully rude. But it's like it's got to be a reality check. It really does.
For some of these folks?
There are people.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they said about Trump, that it wasn't until a friend of his, some rich guy in New York, got sick, called him that he had it, and then died a week later, that Trump figured out that this was real.
Oh, God. Well, listen, we don't have. I hate waiting for the idiots to catch up because they're just endangering.
They're killing us,
all of us. It's extraordinary.
Do you remember the movie, the thing from 1970s called The Poseidon Adventure?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're
Shelley
on a cruise
Winters,
ship, and it's and it's flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And I can't remember all the main characters. But, the smart guys decided, okay, we're upside down. We got to go down, in their mind. They're walking opposite. They're not going towards the deck. They're going to the bottom of the ship because that's what's facing up towards the ocean. And then there's all these other people who are following this preacher, and they think they have to go to the front of the ship. And they're in a life and death situation. And I think, and they just can't help themselves. They have to. This is the way I gotta go. This is what I know. This is that. And I think that even my friends, faced with this reality, I think that they're so they bought in so much. And I don't know if it's pride. They're not idiots. So,
I don't know what it is. I don't understand. It's the inability to change your mind, to think, I took a wrong turn back there. I got to back up. I don't understand that. I don't
admit that you took a wrong turn.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the thing they can't do, that admission, which is fine. So, boy, if Darwin was right, we're gonna at least lose a bunch of idiots. Let's hope. Anyway, listen.
The best thing I could say is I hope that's true. That's a terrible thing to say, but that's our salvation.
Yeah. Okay, you're out of here. Thanks for calling.
All right.
Thanks for calling, Roger.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I have a few things here that I want to share. We have Barbara sent this to me a long time ago, and I keep forgetting to bring it to you. But this is Susan, a hopeful thing.
Good.
The Black Death marked an end of an era in Italy. Its impact was profound, and it resulted in wide-ranging social, economic, cultural, and religious changes. These changes, directly and indirectly, led to the emergence of the Renaissance, one of the greatest epochs for art, architecture, and literature in human history. So the Black Death, led to the Renaissance. There you have it.
There you have it.
Yeah. Well, Obama led to Trump.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you never know. Okay, Little Tony says, to me the protesters are political. Yeah, the virus, though, is not political. The virus doesn't care who you voted for. The ones who are wearing camo and carrying guns, those are white nationalists. They travel to get here. That's true. They come in from all these, rural kinds of counties. I heard that some of the protesters even brought their kids. Yeah, well, sure.
Mm-hmm.
God. Blake says, for some reason, City Paper said your show was for 1 o'clock rather than 10, a whole extra 3 hours away. That can't have helped. You're saying nobody's listening. What do you mean they said it was 1? What? It's never been 1. Well, I don't know.
Somebody left out a 0.
Somebody left out a 0. How is... God. So, I have this thing that I've been reluctant to bring up, but I'm going to. Do you know the name Tara Reid?
Yeah, but I can't tell you offhand why I do, but I do.
Yeah, because, her name's been in the news a little bit. I suspect if you watch Fox News, you've seen it more because they would particularly love this. But it's not something that we can totally disregard. Tara Reid is the woman who has said that Joe Biden sexually assaulted her.
Oh, that one, yes. Oh, and yes, that's why I remembered. And she's a Putin fangirl. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that. But now here's the thing. Our side that always says you would believe the women, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we get all of a sudden we don't
say.
want to believe the woman. I am bringing this up because it puts us in an uncomfortable place. Let me read what Michelle Goldberg said about her. And here's the negatives, right? Michelle Goldberg says, Reid seems almost engineered in a lab to inspire skepticism in mainstream Democrats, both because her story keeps changing and because of her bizarre public worship of Vladimir Putin. Here's a quote from her. President Putin has an alluring combination of strength with gentleness. His sensuous image projects his love for life, the embodiment of grace while facing adversity. Now, that alone is enough to make me think, wait a minute.
I don't think any movement requires you to suspend judgment.
But I would agree. But that would have been heresy with the Me Too, zealots. You always believe the woman.
Well, I always believe the woman if I find her credible.
Reid's account.
Don't you find a difference between Kavanaugh's accusers and this broad?
Yes, but other people
aren't they risking more to come forward than this woman?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean? She isn't risking the same kind of nastiness coming at her? Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, we're talking about her, yes, but that's the natural.
Well, I'm just saying. Okay. So Ruth Marcus, writing also about it uncomfortably in the Washington Post, says this is a difficult and an important question because she's saying, I believe Christine Blasey Ford immediately. And that was the Kavanaugh accused.
Right.
And she says, I'm trying to grapple with this. And she comes to the conclusion that Christine Ford, who took on Kavanaugh, that her allegations were stronger, although she says you can't totally, throw Reed aside. Here's the thing. Reflexive acceptance of any and all allegations of sexual misconduct against any man is not staunch feminism. It is dangerous credulity, yes, that risks doing terrible injustice to the accused. Hashtag believe all women was a dumb hashtag and a dumber approach to inevitably complex, fact-bound situation.
Yep. And we have the Duke basketball team. That was as a harsh reminder of that.
Okay. Then she goes in to read her allegations, and it is true. Her story changes. She has one person who does say that she was contemporaneously told about Biden doing this thing. But then there's all this...
Touching her shoulders or raping her?
No, putting his hand under her skirt and penetrating her with his fingers. I mean, him touching her neck and shoulders, I believe that.
Me too.
Who wouldn't?
Right.
But one friend says that she did tell her in real time. So I don't know. And here's what Ruth Marcus says about Tara Reid's credibility as she sees it. Wait a minute. Where is it here? She's a confounding figure. One fundamental difference between Ford and her is the motive. Christine Blasey Ford came forward only reluctantly and without evident ideological motivation. Reid was a supporter of Bernie Sanders' presidential bid, and the fact that she went public with her allegations just as Biden was on the verge of cementing the Democratic nomination raises the possibility of political motivation, although Reid denies this. And other red flags has been her inconsistent attitude toward Biden. She has repeatedly praised him on Twitter, including specifically for his work on combating violence against women. And this is after he supposedly sexually assaulted her.
Right.
And, then there's her Putin thing. The credibility question is the biggest hurdle, Marcus says, for me with Reid. Reid does not seem a very reliable figure. Anyway, but she says, my gut says that what Reid alleges did not happen. My head instructs that it is within the realm of possibility, and fairness requires acknowledging that. And there is another point to bear in mind. Double standards work in both directions. Those who disbelieved and diminished Christine Blasey Ford now face the challenge of explaining why they seem so much more eager to credit Tara Reid's account. But that is where we all have to be uncomfortably willing to accept that when it's our guy who's getting accused that we tend to more easily discount, right? And are much more willing to believe if it goes the other way.
I believed that Clinton was inappropriate with Monica Lewinsky, and although my husband didn't, but I did, and I think many of us did, even though he was our guy.
Yeah, but what about not Monica Lewinsky? What about all the other women who said that he?
Yeah, they were thrown out under the bus, and they were clearly telling the truth.
They were thrown under the bus by, yes, Democratic women. But Michelle Goldberg also says Reed could well be telling the truth. It's not implausible that she was afraid to admit what happened to her before, and so came up with, I don't know, an alternative narrative. But it's just our sense of Biden, I think, that also is making this difficult to believe. He is a touchy-feely guy. It just doesn't sound like... I do think he's a decent man. I just can't imagine him doing that. It just...
I don't only think he's a decent man. I know he's a decent man. I've been watching that guy, for my whole life. And he's way too handsy, but that's who he's been all of his life, and he's had 2 long, good marriages. Sorry. I don't believe it.
Well, just saying. It's not something that any of us have talked about, and I find it interesting, the silence around it. So I have to tell you, I finished the world's most difficult jigsaw puzzle. It took me 4 months. It took me 4 months, and showed me to be either the world's most stubborn person or the world's most perseverant. And then I went looking for another one and found it in my own house. It's a puzzle. I can't remember how it came here, but I never even considered doing it because it just looks impossible. And it's mostly black. It's just this black attic room, and you can't see anything in it. And it's called Last Chill and Testament. And I finally, out of just desperation to want to do something, opened it up. And my God, it's not a normal puzzle. It starts with a little book, and you have to read the book, Last Chill and Testament. And once you've read the book, you're supposed to tackle the puzzle. So I read the damn little book. It's very short. And then I opened the puzzle and was immediately astonished to find that the pieces clearly were not the picture on the cover. And it turns out that there is no picture to follow. I'm doing a blind jigsaw puzzle.
Wow.
And all I have to go on are clues from the stupid story.
Well, that should take care of a couple of years.
Well, I've already done the easy part but now I am down to a bunch of black and brown because it is an attic scene. It is but not the scene on the cover. I couldn't believe it. How the hell do you anytime you do a jigsaw puzzle, you're always looking at that picture. So that goes, and there are no clues.
Well, yes, they are. They rest within the words on the written page.
Yes. So, and that's been helpful. But, man, I can't believe it. And I sit now wasting hours of my life.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns out it's convenient and not so much a coincidence that you happen to have hours of a life.
God knows I do. So here's a little quote I came upon from Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And would that we had a first lady like this.
Oh, God.
Now, right? She must have said this during a very trying time, and heaven knows she was first lady during many trying times. She said this: "We do not have to become heroes overnight, just a step at a time, meeting each thing that comes up, seeing it as not as dreadful as it appears, discovering that we have the strength to stare it down." And she's just saying, giving people permission to say, no, just let yourself slowly deal with all of this terror and crisis.
Well, it's what I used to say a few years ago when I was looking at scary things in the face, that this was no time to live life with your high beams on. You live life with your low beams on. And, in that way you can just look at what's right in front of you, take care of it, going on. Yeah, that's how you get through things. But I didn't say it as eloquently as she.
Okay. Got a lot of emailers here, and let me get them in. Tim says, "We're here. Stop worrying." Okay. Ed writes, "Lynn, remember that the Renaissance was sponsored by all the rich families, like the Medicis, who survived the plague, not the poor folks who didn't." Yeah, but
they did better than had been done previously. I think that's the point.
Yeah. Keith writes, "Lynn, I couldn't stop laughing yesterday. First of all, these pasty white goobers with their guns were picketing an empty building. The governor's not in the Capitol right now. He's at FEMA headquarters. Secondly, while all these dopes are halting traffic, raising hell, and showing their stupidity through misspelled signs, Governor Wolf holds a press conference and extends the stay-at-home order another week. It was the ultimate fuck 'em moment." Yeah, and you know what else has been pointed out? These are the same kind of people with their guns and their camo and their macho stuff, who are obviously incredibly weak. Because they can't. These are the guys who were like hoarding. These are the people who have bunkers, right?
Well, right. They're terrified at all times.
At all times, they're terrified. It's why they need the guns. It's why they need all the ammo. Why they got to stockpile food. They got to be ready, And here they've been asked to shelter in place, get into your bunker. And they can't last a month without crying. No. I want a haircut. I want to be able to go to my bar. Okay, Doug writes of Tara Reid. "She's a train wreck. Google her slurred Sharknado interview." Okay, maybe I will. Debbie writes, "Whether she's telling the truth or not doesn't matter. If Trump's accusers are dismissed, then so should Biden's. Trump is president with how many accusers? Why should we dismiss Trump's accusers? Trump's base says it doesn't matter what he did. So why is Fox News up in arms over this? I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. All women need to be heard, but not always believed. Same as Biden's goof-ups. But Trump's goof-ups are always just fine. If Biden is guilty of this, then why isn't Trump?" Okay. But the thing is,
nice one. So
Little Tony says, I don't believe her. I heard about her some time ago. There was no news coverage that I heard. I don't know what makes her tick, but something is off. I don't buy a word of it. And then Barbara.
Can I just throw in one little feminist meme, which is, I'm amused by all these people pissed off about the government telling them what they can and cannot
do with their bodies.
Welcome to having a uterus.
Yeah, welcome to being a woman. The government can't tell you what to do, where your body can be at any given place. How about they aren't at least telling you what can be in your body or not, or must be removed or not, or whatever. My God.
We're forcing you to keep it in there, right?
Yeah, Barbara just sent me a long list of all the women who've accused Trump. And not to mention, the women he's paid off.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to mention the ones that he's admitted by paying off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The county has released their numbers for today. Allegheny County has 1,059 confirmed cases. You can bet it's 8 to 10 times more than that. Okay, 4 to 8 times more than that. And 67 deaths in Allegheny County. Okay, so that's where we're at. God help us. And the friend that I told you about that was struggling in New York to live is Clyde Jones is hanging in. I am so stunned. He is, I haven't heard anything for 2 days, but as of 2 days ago, he was actually out of the ICU after having been in for over 3 weeks. So that's amazing. And I'm thrilled. And another bad news of a friend of mine's brother died from COVID-19 in Maplewood, New Jersey. Susan Ginny.
Oh no!
Brother.
Well, and a friend of my daughter's lost her grandparents in New York.
Mm. Yeah. So, yeah, people are dying.
And by the way, that was because not because they were in a nursing home, but because they had home health care workers that had to come and go, and they were asymptomatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Sorry to end on that, but
yeah,
that's it. That's where we are. So, okay, I'm done.
Okay.
I am not, I have good days and bad days. I woke up this morning and I thought, this doesn't feel like a great day to me, but whatever. So that's all I'm doing today. Susan, thank you, though.
You're welcome. Well, I hope your day turns out better than you think. Go look at brown and black puzzle pieces.
Don't think I won't.
I know you will.
It's right at the other end of the table. It's been staring at me the whole time.
I know. You've been itching to get at it.
I know.
Okay, well, congratulations for not doing it as you spoke to us. Okay.
Not that bad. Okay. Thank you all.
Okay. Bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.